roles I've gone through. It's when I'm done and when I feel satisfied that I've pretty much covered the event. So I think there is both pros for both film and digital, and so in this moment in time I probably shoot about 10, 15, 20% of my work in weddings digitally, and the rest is based in film. Because my detail shots are done digitally. When I shoot celebrity weddings, I tend to shoot some money shots digitally because I get them on the wire that night so that it goes out to all the publications and the newspapers. And for a lot of photographers, the overhead gets cut literally by using digital, because they're willing to sit in front of the computer and do editing before they send the disc off to the lab to get printed. So it makes sense. Digital makes sense to very young photographers that don't have families, that don't do anything other than photography, that don't find it necessary to go out and have lunches and dinners, because for me, it's too time consuming for me to sit in front of a computer and edit all my work, number one, Photoshop my work, tweak the colors. I'd rather walk up Monday morning to my lab with all my film and go, here, and leave it there and have him process it. And at the level where I am in terms of monies, I have a nice edge there where I have some monies where I could use to spend on proper processing of film, making prints that are beautiful like that, because the clientele that seeks me out has the money to spend on me. My printer, Robert Cavalli, who prints my work, he helps. I often say that I'm the composer and he performs the piece. He literally is the other half of me, and I have to give him credit. This is a portrait of a bride in infrared that he decided that while printing, he tilted the easel on the bottom to throw this out of focus. He wanted to concentrate on her face. So this was done in the darkroom. A lot of my images are created in the darkroom. I have a starting point, and then Robert takes off with it. And he's kind of a madman. He looks like Einstein, and he listens to rock and roll, and he dances in the darkroom like I dance at a wedding. So we're a good match. We're exactly the same age, and he's just brilliant. So he does make my images come to life. The infrared, the fading away, this is all again post-production. I just love this kind of a natural feel, though. What she said to me when she saw this image was that this is who she was in this moment. And so rather than a posed, forced photo where you ask them to drop the shoulder, put the chin out, look this way, and you do it heavy-handed, it ends up being very forced looking. So this is very relaxed, and she says, you know what, this is the closest to who I was in this moment. I was feeling this, and I can remember what I'm thinking in this moment right before I walk down the aisle. You know what, from an aesthetic point of view, I think film for me is still first and foremost. You can't touch it. Digital has its own look, its own feeling. It's beautiful. You can get large prints. It's still digital. I can still tell the difference. The people that are the celebrities that hire me are film industry, record industry people. They want film. They want the double weight fiber-based prints. They want the Bresson look. They want the burning and dodging and the vignetting and the printing done by a master printer. They want that. They don't want a digital print. And that's who seeks me out. That is my niche. And so I have a clientele base that is specifically looking for film photography and not digital. Hi, sweetie.
Gather here to rejoice with and for them in the new life they now undertake together.
I'm a strictly 35mm shooter. All my gear is Nikon. I swear by them. I've used Nikon from day one. I use f5s, and I use a D2H for the digital part of it.
Love begins as a temporary madness. Quickly erupts, then subsides.
It's absolutely a necessity for me to have the best tools possible. Is it the tools that make my work? In part. In part it is. It's in part my printer. It's still my eye, but if I didn't have the tools to create the images I create and get right here, I wouldn't be here today. I've gotten so comfortable with my cameras now that, yeah, Nikon, who sponsors me, makes fun of me that they have to make holsters for my cameras now because I shoot so fast. If you have to think about the image, it's too late. You can only react to it. And the faster you react, more likely you are to nail down that image. More likely. If you're looking at it and you're thinking about it, it's too late. It's done. It's over. I like to use what they call selective focusing, which is I find possibly the fastest lens I could for my gear and shoot it wide open. I love shooting at 2.8. This is a 85 millimeter 1.4, so shooting it at 1.4 was actually necessary so that I didn't see the robe that she was holding in front of her. You didn't see the bathtub she's sitting in. And it's just a lovely portrait, and it's just her face. That's all that was necessary. You know, he was wiggling that mirror back and forth to himself. And then he heard me trying to time it by click, 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 click. And he finally looked at me into the mirror, and he proudly posed for me as he was wiggling that mirror. And bridesmaids are getting ready in the background. It's just a wonderful image. This is his sister. Now, you know, right place, right time, sure. But what I find still difficult is to stay present all the time. So there are times after 5-6 hours of straight working where I have to sit down for 5 minutes and close my eyes. Here's when it becomes a problem, when the wedding is drawn out and I'm allowed to sit for an hour or hour and a half before I have to get up again, because I was in a flow when I started. And then I take a break for an hour, and all of a sudden I have to get back up into that flow again, and sometimes it's difficult for me to find that flow or those moments. So if it's continuous and hardcore, you know what? I like that better. I like that much better because I can just stay in it and I'll collapse later and it's fine. But to be present, it's something I'm still working on. You know, it's something that you have to practice and practice and practice. This is Christina Applegate's first dance. It's soft, but what it conveys in this moment is how they were feeling towards one another. It was about them. That's what this image was about. So I'll grab the camera with the long lens and walk around with 3200 ASA and grab shots like that. Yes, I have the shots when they initially get onto the dance floor, flash on camera, boom, 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 full length. You see the dress as it's being twirled around, even drag those a little bit so that I have a flow with the dress moving, which is kind of nice. But then I come in tight with the longer lens and the faster film to get moments like this. This is the same effect right here. First dance. It's a black and white image, 3200 ASA, and it's done with a blue toning with a little pink on it. And that's Robert's little hand. The only thing sharp is a little bit of her hair and her eyelashes. The rest is soft from the movement. But it's stunning. I love this kind of imagery. Available like fast film. Grainy, I don't care. There was no light in this place, and it didn't matter. Fast film, I use a lot of it. I love fast film because it allows me in right here in this Greek Orthodox church where no flash is allowed. And those are the moments I look for, the bride kissing the Bible. And this was right outside of the church, and I had 5 minutes to shoot the bride before we had to go to the reception. And I essentially asked her to step through the trees, and she said, what? With my dress? I said, yeah, just be careful, just kind of squeeze through, yeah? So this is actually Beverly Hills, and Santa Monica and Rodeo is right here, and there's traffic, there's buildings, and so Robert did what they call a split tone, sepia and blue. And the sepia adheres itself to the highlights first, so he's very careful to tone this thing, and as soon as it starts to bleed into the shadows, he pulls it, he washes it, he throws it into the blue toner, which adheres to the shadow details first before it goes to the highlights. So it's a very balanced technique in printing this that's subtle. You know, again, it's not for everybody. Some people don't take to this kind of imagery, but it's just the people that end up hiring me, this is what they're looking for, something different, something unusual, something that sets it apart from everybody else's book. I've developed a name with the celebrity circle by sheer luck on the one hand, and by the fact that I'm in LA, I'm in Hollywood. This is where the celebrities are, and I marketed myself to them by finding out first and foremost who were the coordinators that were doing the celebrities at the time when I got started. So I came up with the name Colin Cowie, and I pitched my work to him, and he thought that my work was different enough from what he had been seeing that he immediately hired me to do Kelsey Grammer's wedding. So that was my foot in the door, and Kelsey's wedding was almost, I think, 7 years ago now. So that, again, was in the first 2 years of me becoming a wedding photographer that I nailed down Kelsey Grammer's wedding. From there, it's word of mouth. It's word of mouth. I've never really truly advertised or paid for advertising in my line of work. I have simply gone by word of mouth, which I think is one of the best business tools there is word of mouth. I promised myself years ago that if I lost the passion to do what I'm doing today, I'd stop doing it and find something else to do. And I've done that in the past. I was a record company vice president until the passion left me, and I switched to going to school. I was going to become a psychologist. Passion left me. I became a photographer. I think this will stay with me because this truly is my passion, is photography. I like what I do. I can look back at the images that I take at each wedding and feel satisfied that I've accomplished something. More importantly, that I've given mementos to these people that have hired me that they so treasure. That to me is the payoff, is the faces that I see that when they respond to my images. That's the payoff.